this is Izzy at Minerva. Thanks for joining me today. In today's video we are going to be looking at how to create a wrap top. This is a lovely little top detail which is going to be really useful. I think the fitting of a wrap top when you buy it from a standard pattern can sometimes be quite hard to fit, so the benefit of using your bespoke bodice block to draft your own fitted wrap top is that it should fit you absolutely perfectly based on your fitted block. As usual, you are going to need your standard pattern drafting tools, which are listed next to me here. The most important thing for this video is that you actually trace over your block twice so that you have one full bodice front block in front of you when we start. What we are ultimately going to do is to create a top that kind of wraps over, ties here, has another tie over here. We are going to be manipulating the darts in different ways, which is going to be really fun. So we've got a series of little things to do on the top, and then the back is just going to be pretty much the same as how we normally do it. As ever with this series, we're just showing you the drafting techniques of how to draft out your pattern. We're not showing you how to create a finished garment. So I won't be demonstrating the facings or anything like that. I'm just showing you how to manipulate your block, and then from there you can then add the extra bits that you want to for your top that you're going to be designing and creating. I'd like you just to find the center point of the waist dart along the waistline. Draw a line using a sharp pencil up to the apex. Next, cut along this line up to the apex. Remove the volume from the shoulder dart. Close up the shoulder dart and open up your waist dart. And you'll see that the volume that we removed from the shoulder is now put into this waist dart down here. Find the center point of your new waist dart and draw a line from there up to the apex again. Mark a point along this line that is 2 centimeters offset from the apex. This will be the new point of your waist dart, and then draw that new dart in. The next thing we want to do is working on our left front bodice, which is on the right of our screen here. We actually want to remove the volume of this and put it into the shoulder dart up here. So let's do that in a very similar manner. Extend the waist dart up to the apex. Remove that volume now. Next, cut down the shoulder dart. Remove the volume from the waist dart and then just close that waist dart up, pivoting at that apex point. And you'll see that volume that we removed from the waist has been added into the shoulder dart. At this point, I'm just going to mark a point that is just 3 centimeters away from this side seam along the waistline. And then just going to extend that point by 1.5 centimeters away from the waist. Next, we're going to draw in the line of our V shape to the front of our neckline. Now, how you want the crossover across your bust to sit, it depends on your personal preference. It may be that you want a nice gentle curve that goes all the way down, or you might just want a straight line. You might want to have quite a high neckline or potentially a lower neckline. So this is really up to you to decide how you want to draft it. Have a little play around with the shapes, see what you think. Do you want to create a nice gentle curve? Do you want it to be straight at the top and come down? How do you want that to sit? Have a little think about that, but we will be adjusting it slightly moving forward. What I'm going to actually do is to mark a point that is 8 centimeters away from our shoulder point here, and I'm going to want my neckline just to sort of open up across the neckline up there. So I'm going to mark a point that's 8 centimeters, and I'm actually just going to write it down here. So that when I come to draft the back, I remember that the width of the shoulders changed to 8 centimeters. All I'm going to do is just draw a straight line from the shoulder down to my waist reference point. This effectively now becomes my wrap dress. We do just have one more thing to do, and that is to add or remove the volume from around the bust at this point here. We've sorted out kind of the bust shaping around the bust down at that point, but we've also, because it's a wrap, we wanted to sit nice and close to the entire inside of the bust as well as around the bottom and the sides. So we're actually going to remove a little bit of that now, so let's do that together. First thing to do is to cut out your new neckline. Draw a line from the apex to your new neckline line. I'm doing it at right angles to the neckline. And then I want you just to mark a point that is, for us, we're going to do just 1 centimetre. So So mark a point that is just 1 centimetre above that new line and join that up to the apex. Remove that volume now by cutting it out. And just close up the volume of that bit there. At this point, you can then draw in your final shape of your neckline that you want to have somewhere around the vicinity of where you've drawn the original straight line. So you could just draw a line that joins up the shoulder to this point here, a straight line like this, and just that's going to add in and just smooth off that curve slightly. Or you could then choose to curve your neckline if you want. The choice is, entirely yours. I think for me, I am just going to add a nice soft curve. I think that neckline will suit me. So I'm just going to draw that in and then cut that out. Wonderful. So now that we've drafted out our wrap top, we're just going to add our seam allowances and make the pattern pieces now properly. Don't forget that we're just going to be adding seam allowances to the bits that we're going to sew together so we can check the fit. This is effectively just a toile. Once you've got your toile sorted and you've tried and checked the fit, then you can pattern draft to add in your facings and all the other bits that you might want to include, like your hems and things like that. So let's just get straight on into it together. Add a 1.5 centimetre seam allowance to your shoulder seam. Draw in the arm side. Add a 1.5 centimetre to the side seam. We're not attaching the waist to anything for this pattern drafting experience, so just draw in the waist as it is. And at this point here, we've got a bit of a curve, so just use your nice pattern drafting ruler just to soften that curve off. Draw in your dart. Add a 1.5 centimetre seam allowance to this end little bit here, then just draw in your neckline. The grain line is going to follow the centre front. This is the wrap top front cut 2. And now you can cut out your tracing paper pattern piece. Moving on to our back bodice piece. Just to ensure that the shoulder line is the same width as the front bodice shoulder line. Don't forget to remove the volume of your dart as you take this measurement across the shoulder line. Then just draw in your new neckline. This can be any curve or shape that you want, just you choose. Making sure that the width across here, it just remains the same as the front. Brilliant, we'll just cut that piece out now. Okay, so the only final thing that we need to do now for this wrap top is just to draft out those little ties that are going to go on the side of the garment. So we're going to need 4 of these in total. So if I want my ties just to be 1 centimetre wide, I then obviously want to double them so that I can have the right side facing all the way around because it's a tie. So in this case, I'm just going to draft a little line that is 2 centimetres wide by 20 centimetres long. Lovely, let's add our seam allowances now. We'll start off with the tie and we're just going to add a 1.5 centimetre seam allowance all the way around this pattern piece. Wrap top, tie, cut 4. For this, our grain line is just going to go like this. Start off by drawing a line straight down the centre back, as this will be cut on the fold. Draw in the neckline. Add the seam allowance to the shoulder line and draw in the dart. And the arm side, again with no seam allowance, as we're not drafting a sleeve for this. And the side seam of the back bodice is going to line up with the side seam of the front bodice, so add your seam allowance in at that point. Draw in your waistline and the waist dart. Annotate the pattern piece to say place on fold along the centre back. The grain line follows the centre back. Wrap top, back bodice, cut 1 on fold. Brilliant, let's cut out our pattern piece now, and then we're going to cut it out of calico as well, nice and neatly, and we're going to make sure that we transfer the dart line markings onto our pattern piece. You can use carbon paper to do that or any other method. The first thing we're going to do with our pattern pieces is to sew up all the darts. We've got 1 on the front, we've got 2 pieces, and then we've got 2 on the back. We're just going to sew those up together now. Once you've sewn those 2 darts, you can then just press them towards the side. Perfect. Once you've sewn your 2 darts on both of your back pieces, you can then press both of them towards the side. Okay, so we have 4 wrap top ties, and we are going to just finish off the edges by turning the short edge under by 7mm, 7 or 8mm, and again by 7 or 8mm, and that is with the wrong sides together, so the wrong side is facing up on this. Okay, I'd then recommend that you actually just sew a line of stitches along there just to secure that in place before we continue with the rest of our stitching. Fold the piece in half lengthways with right sides together, and then we're just going to sew all the way along using our 1.5cm seam allowance. Repeat that process for all 4 pattern pieces. Once you've done all 4, just take one and trim the seam allowance in half, just to reduce the bulk. Repeat that process for the other 3 pieces. Next, grab a safety pin and just turn it right side out. And just turn the other 3 the right side facing out. Okay, so as I wear the garment, this is going to be worn on my right side, and it's going to wrap over on top of my left side. So I'm going to take one of our little ties and just pin it in place to this bit down here, to the little tab at the bottom down here. And that is effectively then going to come out and wrap onto here. So then I'm going to get another tie and pin it in place into that seam allowance at this point here. That's going to fold over and tie at that point. Great. Now the next thing that we're going to do is on the inside of the garment then, if I open up my right side, on the inside of the garment we want to attach another tie with the raw end up to here and just pin that in place. So this is the right side of the bodice facing up. And then that is going to attach to a tie which is going to be located on the inside. So with the wrong side facing up, pin in place another tie down at the bottom here of the side seam. Okay, so let's just talk us through that one more time. So the right side is crossing over the left side. We're effectively going to create a tie where these 2 can tie together. And then when we open up the garment on the inside, we've got another tie to tie in with that. At this point, we're just going to baste all those 4 ties in place. Okay, next we're going to pin our shoulder seams together and our side seams. So grab your pins and with right sides together, match up the shoulder seams and the side seams. And likewise for the other front piece, pop that on top of the fabric or the back piece and just pin that in place. Once those 4 seams are pinned in place, we're then just going to sew them using our 1.5cm seam allowance. Lovely. Once you've done all of that and you've got it ready, let's just go and press those seams open that we just sewed, and then we're going to go try it on. So here we have it, our gorgeous wrap top. You can imagine how easy it would be to translate the wrap top into a wrap dress if you added your skirt block to your bodice block, joined it together and created a really beautiful wrap. Yeah, so there we have it. Thank you for joining me today as we've looked at how to draft a wrap top. This is a really cute little detail, and you could alter the neckline and do all sorts of things to change it and jazz it up and make it look completely different. So a really fun little basic technique for you to go and explore in your own time. Please do feel free to pop your comments below the video. We always love to hear from you here at Minerva. And don't forget as well that you can create your own account on our Minerva website where you can upload your own images and photos and share your pattern drafting journey with us. We absolutely love to see our maker community engaging with the process here, so please do join in the conversation and share your adventure with us. So thanks for joining me today. It's been super fun. I will see you next week.